Hi everybody, welcome back to A Better Computer. My name is Matt, and I have been trying to get away from Adobe Lightroom for a long time. It's not because I think that Adobe Lightroom is bad, I actually think it's great. It's just a little expensive. I'm paying for the Adobe Photography Creative Cloud Pack, whatever that is exactly called, but it's 10 bucks a month and it gets me Photoshop and Lightroom. I don't really use Photoshop, so I'm really paying 10 bucks a month for Lightroom, which is kind of steep, and I'd really love to either pay a cheaper subscription or buy a one-time app that I can use just for a long time and not have to pay every single month for it. And I've tried a bunch of apps and none of them have really clicked with me. But the one that I think gets closest for me right now is Pixelmator Photo. Now there's a couple of reasons why I'm still hesitant about it, but I wanted to show you the app today to see what's good about it and what are some of the limitations that keep it from being the absolutely perfect replacement for Lightroom for me, but that it may actually be good enough for me now. I know that's not totally clear, but let me show you the app and I'll try to explain all the details to you now. Okay, so we are in Pixelmator Photo right now, and you can see on the left I've got all these albums. These are actually all from Apple Photos. So everything in my Apple Photos account will come over here. It's syncing all those photos. That's why I have 32,000 images available to me to edit. So this is really nice for just not having a new service you have to subscribe to, not having a new place to upload your photos. If you're using Apple Photos, you're already set. So this is from a couple years ago, a trip I took to Austin. And so let me look at this photo and we can start making some edits. So I load the photo, I have to hit edit to go in to actually make changes. And then if I hit this icon here, you can see kind of what you would expect from a Lightroom-like experience. And so you can make all these changes manually if you want, of course. So there's like selective color options here. There's your levels, curves, all the general, hue, saturation, vibrance, exposure settings, all that's here. Oops. And then you can actually customize this to choose what adjustments you want to have on this left panel so you can have only the things that you actually touch. So I'm not going to change any of that right now. But some of the cool stuff that you can do is one really nice thing is all these ML icons over here. These are their machine learning buttons, so you can use those to make some just smart edits right away. So if I want to do white balance, let's white balance this image first. So it goes ahead and does that. This actually makes it a little blue, so I actually don't like that. But it does a pretty good job most of the time in figuring out decent white balance, hue and saturation. It'll adjust those based on kind of what you've got in the image. It does some of that. That's actually pretty decent at kind of leveling out the image. But anyway, these are just starting points, and then you can kind of mess around. So I can go ahead and drop the highlights if I want to make this a little less contrasty. There we go. I can actually just lower the contrast too, or increase the contrast. I don't know. You could go a couple different ways with this photo. But the point is you can use the ML buttons to start going in a right direction and then make changes after that. You can see down here there's actually all these filters as well. So if you just want to use a filter, there's quite a few built into the app. All the colors are available here, so you can change master, or you can do three ways with highlights, midtones, and shadows all separately. One of the cool things you can do with their curves, oops, I keep accidentally dragging things. Let me go back. There we go, with curves. So you can, of course, just kind of drag on the curves wherever you'd like and adjust them that way. So that all works kind of how you'd expect. But what you can do that's really cool is I can tap this button here, and I'll get the Apple Pencil for this. You don't have to, but I like it for it. Tap that, and now on the image, I can actually just press into a section, and it'll say, oh, you're trying to adjust the shadows. Let's move the shadows up, and then it adjusts the tone curve over on the other side. So that's really nice, so I can do that, adjust that. Let's go into the highlights, drop those down a little bit, or increase them, and you're adjusting the tone curve over here. So hit done when you're ready, but that's a really more hands-on way to do something that is usually done just over here. So you can still do it the traditional way, just adjusting the curves yourself, or you can go more directly into the image, and I think that's really cool. Now let's look at two other features. I'm going to say done, and I'm just going to modify the original in my photos library, and boom, I'm done. So that's really, really great. So that's all cool. Let me go into all my photos, and then this photo of my dog that I took a couple days ago, I'm going to go into edit mode again, and instead of editing the normal settings, I'm actually going to go into the repair tool, and we're going to stress test the repair tool and see if we can make this a photo of just my carpet. Now, obviously the real world use case for this is to remove little imperfections from your photos. It's to, get rid of like someone in the background that you don't want to be there. Obviously I always want my little dog to be there. But I want to stress test this to see, hey, can you actually just put carpet where this dog is? Can you get the dog entirely out of the photo? And you know what? That's pretty darn good. Let's see if we can get the backpack out of there too, because that was a little close and causes a little distortion there. But let's remove the backpack. It's doing its work. And then, you know what? That's pretty darn good. And I was pretty quick, considering this is a 2018 iPad Pro. This isn't one of the new M1 Max or ones, I should say, or anything. So that's pretty slick. So let's move those back and kind of see what we took out. I'm really impressed by that, so that's really cool. So I'm going to cancel out of that because I don't actually want to change that photo to get rid of the dog. The dog is the whole point. Let me show you one more thing. So let me go into my wallpapers collection, and we've got a feature called super resolution. So if I go into something like, let's see, let me go into, I don't want something that I made because most of mine are super high resolution. Let's do this one. So if I go into edit, this is one that I downloaded many years ago, and if I look at it, it's not really as crisp as it could be. So I'm going to hit this, which is ML Super Resolution, and it's going to try to up-res the image. And there we go. We've got a new updated version of the photo, and it looks a lot better. So if I do this to see the before and after, you know, it's not absolutely night and day, but for a lot of wallpaper sort of things especially, it can really improve how they look. So I'm going to go ahead and save those changes. And yeah, here's like an old Apple one. This one may not be quite as good, but this is really pixely right now from this perspective. And so let me go ahead and do that. And that improved it. That definitely improved it quite a bit. So we went from this super pixely to that, which is pretty darn good. And you can see it using that machine learning to, it may not be absolutely perfect, but it's really getting a lot of detail there that's super, super pixely in the original. So I think that's really cool. A really nice feature. If you have some old wallpapers that just don't look great on your new phones, you can do that here. It doesn't do as well on photographs, so you're not going to get things that are out of focus into focus or anything, but it can make just low-res photos that you previously had look better than before. So definitely a thing to look at and play with, and sometimes you'll get really cool results. Okay, so that is Pixelmator Photo. Again, I think it's a really good app. Some of the things that do annoy me about it are, number one, it's only on the iPad. There's no way for me to do this on my Mac because there's a different Pixelmator app there. I can't do it on my iPhone at all. So that's kind of annoying. I also don't like that you can't just edit photos right away when you tap into them. So you kind of saw me, I had to tap into the photo to expand it to full screen, then hit the edit button. I wish I could just be editing immediately. It would save me a step personally, just with the way I use the app. And then I also wish that there was kind of a film strip style so I could more easily just kind of bounce between photos quickly while I'm editing, especially when I'm editing a big set of photos. I like to do one and then kind of copy those settings, paste it across a whole bunch real quick, and Pixelmator Photo doesn't make that quite as easy as other apps like Lightroom or Darkroom or those sorts of things. So not perfect, but I'm trying to use it as much as possible to see if I can actually use it to get away from Lightroom. Finally, so those limitations do kind of worry me that I'm going to kind of fall back into old habits and stick with Lightroom for quite a while longer, but this is as close as I've gotten to feeling really good about a photo editing app and really just happy with the results it gets me and how easily it lets me make those edits. So that's Pixelmator Photo. It's available for the iPad. It's a one-time purchase. I forget the price, so I'll put it on screen kind of right now. And that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you here next time. Bye-bye.